As we are deep into the Christmas season, we are talking this morning about the consumer rights and responsibilities and protection. This morning, I welcome Acting Director of Consumer Guidance and Protection at the Consumer Affairs Division, Ava Bullard-Noel. Good morning to you, Ava.
Good morning, and thanks for having us once again.
Not a problem. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. I'm fighting some cold, but I'm here.
All right. I appreciate you waking up early and fighting and coming down the road.
Yes.
Before we get into the meat of the matter, I wanted to remind people as to the role of the Consumer Affairs Division.
Okay, so we have three main ones. We have consumer redress, we have consumer empowerment and education, we have the research function. All right, so the research function comes in where you would find us publishing like our grocery prices every month.
Right.
So we do grocery, poultry, hardware. So we do that every month. We publish it via our social media page on Facebook so that consumers can make more informed choices, hopefully. We also have the empowerment and education. So Consumer Affairs does lectures. So we go out, we partner with community development, we partner with MIC, we partner with Civilian Conservation Corps, all those other agencies, NGOs, we partner with those persons. We do it every quarter, so we offer lectures on your rights and responsibilities. We offer lectures on the Adversary Practices Order. So we get in touch with our partners and we offer those lectures. We also offer lectures. If it is that you would like to have a lecture done, you can go on to Trade IND and there's a form that you can fill out letting us know what section that you are interested in and having a lecture carried out by Consumer Affairs Division.
And this lecture could be to your staff, it could be to...
It could be to anybody. Last week we were in La Costina Gardens on Penal Rock Road.
Okay.
Last quarter we were in Cedra. So we go just about anywhere because there are consumers everywhere.
Of course, of course. All right, so let's give some tips to those same consumers for the Christmas season. Give me some useful tips that you think we should know while we get ready for the Christmas and doing some shopping.
All right, so I know it sounds ad nauseum, but I have to say it all the time, and people take it for granted, budgeting. Sometimes, you know, the bright lights, the bells and whistles that they add, everything just makes you get in that mood, and sometimes we throw caution out the window.
It's a four-letter word that is do it. Sale.
Yeah, well, we have sale all through the year, but the sale comes with nice Christmas trees, with bells and whistles, with Santa Claus ringing a bell. And so sometimes that impulse spends January's salary. And we want to advise strongly, just budget and try to avoid impulse shopping. And I know I'm saying it, and still people will do it, but I have to say it. Budgeting is one. All right? The next thing we want you to remember is to ask questions at point of sale. What does that mean? At the point of sale and not after the money changes hands, because there might be something that is not agreeable to you in the terms and conditions that you might be able to back out from the purchase. So if it is that you find something is not too right, tell yourself, look, listen, let me check back on this, let me pause on this purchase.
Can you give me an example of something like that?
One of the things that popped up was where your warranty is. So some people would purchase something, like a phone, for example, and they will tell you, okay, the warranty, after you pay them your $5,000, the warranty is not really with us. You'll have to go to a third party, and it might be somewhere far.
Right.
You're not expecting that your phone will go bad, but
just in case.
The possibility exists that it might because it's man-made. And so if it is that the term is not agreeable to you, you have the opportunity to back out.
Okay.
So once you're informed about that, you make that informed purchase. All right? The other thing that we want you to remember is to keep your receipts. If the receipt is fading, you take a copy of it with your smartphone or you scan it and you put it in a Ziploc bag because it keeps it from fading.
Okay.
All right? So that's one of the things we want you to remember because it's like a lottery ticket. If you do have it, you don't have a chance. All right? The other thing is installation and assembly fees. I don't know how to pong it home, but people purchase stuff and they don't ask a question, especially with things like flat pack items where you'll have to have assembly after you get home. Find out from the supplier. It's in your best interest to find out from the supplier if it is that they offer installation, because if it is that they do it and something is wrong, the chances of you getting redress faster is way better if it is that you use their installer.
Yeah.
Right? So ask if there is that, even if you have to pay a fee, ask if it is that's a service that they offer. Some of them would have a list of contractors that they would deal with. So you will ask for that list, and don't feel bad about paying the fees or stingy about paying the fees. It's in your best interest to do so because it helps you to get the redress faster if the product has some sort of a fault or it's substandard.
But Eva, let's be honest, right? At this point in time, we are knee-deep into the season.
Yes.
And, of course, people have been having sales since the Black Friday or whatever they call it.
Since before
So,
that. Pre.
Exactly. So we've had all these people, these consumers going out and buying things, people who want to nice up their house and buy these whatever flat pack items and all that good
Yes.
stuff, right? So if it is that I am requesting this service and they
Yes.
don't have enough manpower to be able to install for everybody, I might end up waiting longer, or I might feel like I might end up waiting longer, and I can just put it up myself.
Yeah.
So would you then say it is not advisable for us to try putting it up ourselves? Or is,
As far as possible, if it is something that there are things that are simpler, and then there are things that not
Might
so
require
simple
some mats.
that would require some. Yeah. So as far as possible, we're not advising against it totally because not everybody is inclined that way,
Right.
and then there are some people can look at it and go click. Right? So as far as possible, if it is that you can avail of the installer, do so.
Okay.
Right? Don't try to max it out yourself because it might
but
end
it's
up
come with
being.
instructions.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. And sometimes you see some of them Allen keys and some of them screws, and you're like, you can't match with. Yeah. So it looks like if it is like, oh my goodness, I
Yeah.
should have.
Yeah.
Right? So don't have that regret. As far as possible, avail of the service. All right? One more thing we want to talk about is signing delivery notes. We know Christmas is one day, people. If it is that the item is delivered after a certain hour, you have the right to refuse delivery. It may mean you without a fridge, you without a new stove. But if it is that when they drop the item, they don't have a chance to unwrap that plastic that it comes in, or for you to, except with the fridge, of course. The fridge, you'll have to set it down
it settle.
and let the gas settle, so
Yeah.
that's a 24 hours. So that's obvious. Things that you could open it. Because sometimes the dents and scratches, they look like they're aesthetic, and oh, well, no, it wouldn't affect the functioning, and it may. All right? So if it is as far as possible, you can't see what it is that you're getting, or they're hustling you, don't sign because the delivery note says sign as having received it in good condition.
Good condition, yeah.
All right, and that is crucial. When you sign, that is like signing away your rights by accepting something that's substandard. So if it is that you can't get a chance to view the item, or they're hustling you, or you feel pressured, or there's some kind of duress, say, listen, look, come back. And it might mean they're delivering it in the new year or whatever. And some people say, well, yeah, right. No, don't sign away your rights and give up and say, I want this store, I want my house to look a certain way, and it will take away from how my kitchen not complete and all of those things. There is one day Christmas, and then there's the rest of the year where you have to use your fridge, you have to use your stove, and you will need it to be functioning as it should.
Okay, so I love that you brought that up because if it is that I do sign it as receiving in good condition, for example,
Yes.
and the following day something goes wrong, can I get any redress?
It's very difficult for Consumer Affairs to assist you if it is that you have signed. Your signature is very important. So if it is that it's something like, for example, I talked about the refrigerator,
Right.
you will not be able to see if it's powering on until probably 24 hours after.
Right.
That's an exception. There's certain things that are obvious, and then there are those other things. All right? So like if it's, you see dents and scratches, if it doesn't affect the functioning of the item, but you might be able to get a discount off of it or whatever, we'll try to assist. But try to help us to help you by not signing away your life if it is that you have doubts.
But
All
if I don't have any doubts, if I receive it and I'm saying it middle of the day, I open it up, I plug it on, everything working good, right?
You still
And
have
then-
the opportunity to come to us.
Right, but I mean like, and then 2 days later or a day later, something starts to.
As soon as possible. So if
Okay.
it is that you discover that there's something that's substandard in the product, and it could be something that you wouldn't pick up, like the when you put on
Something
thing,
in
yes,
it, yeah.
or you open the stove and the burners, they're not cutting it. Those things, yeah, we bring it back, or call us and tell us, and we will try to redress your complaint, right, with the supplier.
Okay.
Right, but as far as is humanly possible, don't sign away your life and your rights, right?
And that part important because people doesn't even bother to read the terms and
No, they
conditions
don't.
sometimes.
It's sometimes they say too chunky or too fine. No,
Or too long.
Or too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, those things are what they refer back to when they say, "Oh no, this is in the clause at the back of the bill," and you don't see it. You didn't even know you had 6 months warranty. You didn't know you had 12 months warranty. You didn't know you had a 1 month warranty. Those things are for you to decide if it is that you want to get into bed with this supplier. Right?
And that's fair.
Yes.
In terms of, oftentimes when we see these sale and that kind of thing, people always say things like there's no return, there's no refund, there's no exchange, or
Right.
sale final. How legal is that?
Okay, so the Adverse Trade Practices Order, which is 24 years old as of this year, prevents a supplier from having certain signs displayed in their store, on the bill books, on the cash register receipts, in the dressing room, wherever, that prevent you or I as consumers, because remember at the end of the day, when we take off our hats, when we remove all of the roles that we are consumers. So it prevents you or I as a supplier from having those signs, because you can't get redress under the law if it is that the item that you purchase is defective, and only that. That is how narrow the law is. Only defective items. So because there is a provision in the law, those signs cannot be acting as a deterrent to somebody who has a legitimate claim
Right.
from getting redress under the law. So stores would have policies outside of that, like your 14, 21, 28, 7-day policies.
Right.
That's outside of what the law provides, but you can have those policies.
Okay.
So no refund, no exchange, all sales are final, all those kinds of things are a no-no. You can't have it displayed, you can't have it in the bill book, because somebody who has a legitimate claim picks up the bill and says, "Oh, I can't carry it back," even though it's defective.
Right.
Right? So because of that provision, you can't, as a supplier, have those signs. No refund, no this, and it's specific. No cash refund, no refund. So if even you have that prefacing something else, like no refund, you cannot have it. I know what you want to say, right? But the words in and of themselves are illegal. And you see the year 2000, we're in 2024, we do the ATPO exercise. We did one at the end of November, which was revisits, and then we did an exercise in the malls last week. So we're going to see the report to see how many suppliers are in violation. Suppliers have been stepping up their game and they have been complying, so kudos to them.
What happens if they're in violation?
If they so there's a summary to the base of the order. There's penalties,
Right.
summary convictions, fines, and imprisonment, not and or,
Not and or.
and imprisonment.
Interesting.
Fortunately, we haven't had any suppliers. No suppliers. So we have a three strikes rule, and most of the suppliers comply.
Okay.
Right? After 3 times, we don't have to send letters or anything. Right?
Give me some tips for the online shoppers, because everything we spoke about so far is more or less in-person practice. When we're shopping online.
Okay. So what I have to bring up is something that has reared its ugly head. And sadly, it's with our local social media virtual businesses, where suppliers are purporting to sell stuff, copying stuff off of places that are actually selling the good, and purporting to sell the good, and they don't have the good for sale. We have been liaising with the police social and cybercrime unit and the fraud squad as well, to make sure that what lines up to be a fraud, what lines up to be, if it is that this falls within that. So if it is that we see where we saw the prevalence of it, we liaised with them to find out, okay, what would constitute a fraud? Does this line up to it? And only a few of them, because I don't know if these scammers reading books. I don't know, they've become very innovative. And certain things that they pointed out to us were things like phishing, which is voicemail fraud. You get an urgent voicemail saying, listen, you need to check your account, do so by so by so. There's smishing, which is social SMS text messaging, where you get a text that says, listen, click this link. We believe that your
This package is here for you, and we need you to verify
a lot of
this.
those things where they tell you to go and check your account, click this link, purporting to be legitimate financial institutions. They have the whole face. So
with the wrong spelling.
with the wrong right, but the most important thing that they came up with recently, I'm saying important because it's a red flag, right? So what social media, cybercrime and social media unit told us was quishing, and I think it has to do with QR codes.
Okay. So scanning QR codes.
Fake QR codes.
Right.
And you know how your phone picks it up without even you knowing?
Yep.
So we have to be really extra cautious. So I think they're becoming more innovative with the scamming. So we have to be really, really careful with what QR codes we scan. If it is that we could take off something on our phone to disable that, because it picks up everything. And sometimes it saves it for you to go onto the website or to the fake page or whatever it is. So we have to be really, really vigilant shoppers. There are things that we can do. If it is that something is too good to be true, it usually is. So if it is that it's a social media service that is being offered that's virtual, where they're asking you just to do a deposit or something, check other social media sites. So most of the legitimate ones will have reviews. You will see recent shopping. You will see recent activity. If it is that the activity is quite last year or 6 months and from the last post, it's a dead ringer.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of us, we get caught up with the prettiness and the bells and whistles and the Santa ringing bells and stuff like that, and we don't think about, listen, this ain't looking too right, because you want the dress for the
This is the exact
occasion.
thing I was looking for.
The occasion, and it matching with shoes. And
Yeah.
so we get caught up and we miss those flags. So we want consumers to be extra vigilant with respect to virtual purchasing. If it means going back to brick and mortar, I mean, the service, we quarrel about the service that we get at brick and mortar, but at least they're there. And there's somebody you could go to and interface with and touch and actually answers the phone, or you can actually see somebody and ask a question. When you do virtual, if there's not enough phone numbers or websites or email addresses for you to go in the about page, they could just disappear with your money. So we're trying to avoid that. We're trying to mitigate against it. So as far as it's possible, do your due diligence regarding your online purchases.
Eva, thank you so much for sharing so much information with us this morning. Of course, consumers, I hope you listen, and I hope you pay attention, and I hope you take heed to the warnings of the Acting Director of Consumer Guidance and Protection at the Consumer Affairs Division. Of course, you can head across to their social media pages to get more information and to get those monthly updates on what you should be paying at the groceries for your products. All right, so you can head across to Consumer Affairs TT, and that's on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Eva, before we wrap this morning, can you just look into that camera and wish Trinidad and Tobago a Merry Christmas?
Merry Christmas to everybody. Have a safe Christmas and be extra vigilant, but still have a happy Christmas.
Thank you so much, Eva. We take a quick break and we come back with more on In Our Morning Show. Stick around.